Welcome to Wednesday night, and thank you for joining us. I am Thabo Mdluli, and we continue, of course, with our conversation tonight. The Gauteng MEC for Public Transport and Roads Infrastructure, Jacob Mamabolo, says residents should not be burdened by paying for etolls. Mamabolo says he made a compelling case to the President as well as Transport and Finance Minister regarding the issue. MEC Mamabolo is joining us tonight for that conversation. MEC, good evening, and thank you very much for your time tonight.
Good evening to you. Thanks very much for the opportunity, and let me also greet all the viewers.
Now let's talk about what you are talking here as a compelling case. Have you submitted new information to the Department of Transport, to the President and to Treasury that previously was not submitted to them, that you strongly believe now it makes a compelling case for them to relook their previous position? I mean, in 2019, you will remember during the budget speech, the minister reiterated again that the user pay principle is what a government is in agreement with, and they are, of course, saying people must continue to pay.
Well, let me just make the point that Premier David Makura and the entire provincial government of Gauteng had actually set up a task team. And this task team in the province had actually put together a very, very strong case in which we did financial modeling. We looked at what are the best sources of revenue to keep the public purse in good position, and to still make sure that sufficient revenue streams flows into the public purse and help government as a whole to be able to deal with whatever financial matters and difficulties it may have with respect to etolls. And we have clearly demonstrated beyond any shadow of doubt that the financial models that we have will far perform, even much more better than the current financial model of the e-tolling system. Let me just make this point quickly that there is also a very false assumption currently that there is a user pay the user pay principle is applicable with respect to etolls. We know that people are not paying for etolls. There are many users of the tolled roads who come from different parts of the country, even our neighboring states, who are going to the ports, to the harbors, going to OR Tambo, going to different destinations. Because remember, Gauteng, it's a point of intersection of all major routes in the country. So you have got many people passing there that are not paying, they can't be traced, and there's no enforcement. So the notion of a user principle is actually undermined by the current e-tolling model. If you look at plaza toll gates, all of them, when you pay there, when you pass there, you pay. So their user pay principle apply very well. So, but the point that we're making is we have submitted as a province a comprehensive alternative, properly modeled, scientifically checked, in which we say international government. We believe these options will bring even much more better resources to maintain roads, to build new roads, and to generate sufficient income. But however, we also understand that we're still waiting, but from where we stand as a province, we think the new information we have provided is powerful enough, is very sound to maintain good governance, to assure investors that will want to invest in our country that we have got a very strong consideration of all risks and issues. And that is why we believe that there's no basis to continue to burden the residents of Gauteng with etolls.
Now, MEC, you'll understand why there is skepticism to this issue, because as you mentioned, the Premier raised this issue previously. And strange enough, it was also during a build-up to elections. We know that we're dealing with local government elections yet again. And the etoll issue has been particularly a hotly disputed one in the Gauteng province, the Gauteng ANC, to say this is the issue that cost us votes. Now, we are back here again, and it seems as if you want to raise this issue with no real concrete conclusion that will bring about to a solution of this issue of the etolls. Well, you'll make it as a rallying point for your campaigning for local government elections, and once that is over, well, we're back to where we were. We'll let National make that decision. So I'm putting to you a question is, what is the new information that would make it a compelling case to the point of saying, well, if National does not take these recommendations seriously, we can even challenge them at a legal level, because these are sound, these are policy-based, these will actually make sense, and we can actually put our necks on the block.
So let me make 2 points quickly. Just to quickly clarify that this is not a matter we are bringing because of elections. We have consistently raised this issue over the years, and timing, particularly elections, has never been a matter in this case, and I don't think that should arise now. Secondly, we understand very well that the submissions that we have made have had to be considered, have had to be looked at, be evaluated with risk check, and maybe that's why it took so long. You'll recall, in the history of this whole issue of etolls, there's always been easy answers that were coming, but since we made a submission, there's never been a response to our submission, because we believe it will be very difficult for anyone to challenge and demonstrate that our proposition is not the best one and is not actually even far much better than the current arrangement. So we also understand, and we are considerate, we are sensitive, that government at national has to check all the dimensions, all the risks, all the issues and the permutations of this issue. That part we understand, but I think we also have to impress upon national government to appreciate our position and appreciate that the better we get an answer on this matter, the even far much more better for all of us. So, and the other issue I just want to...
Yeah, okay, go for it.
The other issue I just wanted to clarify is that the new information we have submitted is definitely communication between two spheres of government, and we shouldn't risk bringing into public space that particular communication. The last point I want to make on this matter is we are also alive to the fact that the constitution of this country compels all spheres of government to respect the profound principles of cooperative governance. There is a chapter in our country's constitution that talks to that matter, how different spheres of government should engage, interact, interface, and work in a manner that is consistent with the principles of our constitution. And therefore, how we as government in the province deal with this matter, we are quite considerate of the fundamental principles in our country's constitution. However,
I have a challenge with that, MEC. Why should now a deal be concluded behind closed doors between a province and national, when the etoll matter was a matter that was publicly consulted upon, and various ideas were given, including the one of the raising of the fuel levy, which now we know is one of the ways in which government is going to try and recoup some revenue based on the budget delivered by the Minister of Finance, that the fuel levy is going to be raised. So what you're saying to us is you pulled a rabbit out of a hat and you have come up with a suggestion out of all the others that were already in public consultation that is completely different. And you're saying, well, that will be a deal that is done between the two spheres of government, and it's communication that should not be jeopardized by being brought to public. I fail to understand that.
Okay, let me quickly clarify that. Firstly, let me clarify that there's no deal making here. There is no behind the scene in an environment veiled by secrecy or, in dark corners. The fundamental principle here is we are governed by our country's constitution on how matters that are challenging between spheres of government should be dealt with. The same constitution imposes on us the obligation to be transparent, to be open about how we deal with matters. So the issue of behind closed doors, the veil of secrecy, there's no such an issue. We just have to respect the principles that are laid down as to how do we deal with this type of matters. And lastly, I just want to say to you that the proposition that we have made, the issue of the fuel levy, is one aspect of it. We have raised various proposals that, if taken together, and these proposals are not one after the other, one besides the other, one in isolation of the other. These proposals of the different dimensions, the different models, they work together, they complement each other. Fuel levy is one of them. It's not everything. So in my understanding, the minister, when he was presenting the budget speech, he was not responding to the proposition that we have made. We're still waiting for government to say, for national government to say, in the totality of all these things we have proposed, how do they respond to all of them? So we don't think singling out, throwing this one, constitutes a response to our proposal. So to that extent, we also and welcome what Minister Mbaluda said. We really appreciate in the sense that when he was debating in the State of the Province of the Nation address in Sona, he clearly said they will come back and they will make an announcement, and ministers on record having said that. So from where we stand, there is yet to be a detailed, very direct, very clear response to our proposal, and that also can't just be a cold response. There must be discussions, there must be engagements, but from where we stand, we have made a compelling case, very scientific, tested, very clear, which indicates the roads that are tolled serve the national economy, support neighboring states, support the economy of our country in the international markets. We have demonstrated etolls make the spatial cost of travel in our province extremely expensive, particularly for people that have to travel to the center. The people in Sandton, they are close to where their offices are, they are close to work. The people in Amanskral, the people in Soshanguve, the people in Sidibeng, in Sibukeng, in Bupilong, if they have to come to the center, they need these highways. And therefore, the people in Mitsweding, in former Mitsweding, in those areas. So the point we're making here is, and also we have made a case that Gauteng is the most tolled province. If you look at Gauteng province,
I want us to unpack that very, very same issue that you're raising. Gauteng is the most tolled of all the provinces, and what you are suggesting here, that there needs to be a national consideration. But let's take a break. We'll come back and deal with that. The Gauteng MEC for Public Transport and Road Infrastructure here in Gauteng, Jacob Mamabolo, still with us. All right, you're part of the conversation. Tag us now on Twitter at Newsroom405. WhatsApp your questions and comments on 072 110 5584. Matters that have to do with our roads in Gauteng under the spotlight tonight as we are in conversation with the MEC for Public Transport and Roads Infrastructure in the province. Jacob Mamabolo, you are part of the conversation, taking us right now at Newsroom 405. WhatsApp your questions and comments on 072-110-5584. So, MEC, you're saying part of what you are suggesting to the Department of Transport, the President, to Treasury, is that the Gauteng roads are the most tolled if you look at the country, in fact, compared to other provinces. But also what you're suggesting is that it's not just the people of Gauteng who are benefiting from these roads, but it's actually the whole entire country that is benefiting. So your suggestion is that the whole entire country should be paying for these roads. Is that in a nutshell what you've suggested, including a range of other issues? You're saying even the fuel levy actually is a part of it.
The essential point, just to add, is that we are saying that the cost of traveling in the space economy of Gauteng is extremely too high. Remember, we as a department have conducted a household survey. We launched it last year, in 2020, and that survey indicated one of the issues that the people of Gauteng are complaining about is that their income or their wages and salaries go to transport and to the cost of travel. And they've actually indicated that that is one of the single most worrying items for households. And you can imagine, Plaza Toll Gate, south, east, west, everywhere. And then on top of that, there's another layer just specifically for the people of Gauteng on the same roads, etolls. That definitely adds another cost. And the point that we are making is these costs affect mainly historically disadvantaged people who reside in the outer skirts of the inner center of the economy. If they have to come to the CBDs, if they have to come to the economic nodes and areas of commercial activity, they rely on these roads. And therefore, that is also just yet another burden on people that are still trying to come out of the legacy of colonialism of a special type. And on top of that, they've got one single item on the bill of every family and household. That is the cost of travel. And we are saying, as the economic hub of the country, we are saying that that model is not fair, and that model is not consistent. It is not even generating money for the fiscus. People are not paying. They have not paid. They are not going to pay. And that's why we're making the point. Our proposals are in the best interest of the economy, in the best interest of the public purse, and in the best interest of governance. And we have tested this. We have verified them. We have checked with experts, and they've said to us, these models can work if taken together. That's why we are waiting. We will not go into details because, as I said, we should be very careful of bringing that correspondence into the public domain. But on the case for the different proposal, yes, this matter is not viable for households in the province, and there's a survey that backs that up, and the cost of travel is extremely high, and not for everybody, but for the people that already have suffered from the past. They are now having to carry this burden that, by the way, was not even necessary in the first place.
MEC, I have 2 points to cover with you, and then we move on. The one also on the issue of the people of the province being burdened, right? The National Driving School Association saying the ARTO Act is putting an extra burden on the people of Gauteng coming out of the COVID pandemic by the fact that they can't renew their licenses because the ARTO Act prevents them to do so if they have unpaid tickets. And they're saying, well, you need to halt it for this period so that you can allow people at least to renew their licenses.
Well, let me just, we at the time when we wrote our proposal, when Premier David Makura directed us to package this proposal to national government, we have not even considered the severe impact of COVID-19 on households. So that is just yet another complexity on a very damaged environment. So the issue of COVID-19 is very important. We have written to Honorable Minister Fikile Mbalula, in November 2020. We have said to the minister, we have noted that the team that minister has put together to look at the ARTO regulations is actually in one form or another trying to sneak through the back door the issue of etolls. And we have clearly said to minister, we, at the time when he will call, for more inputs, we are going to be very clear on that submission that on the parts where ARTO seeks to bring back etolls, that we are completely opposed to, we are definitely not going to support that as a province, and we do not understand how ARTO brings back this matter. And therefore, the way forward for us, clear way forward, carefully considered, carefully thought of, is that the best way forward is not this badly packaged model of etoll. Even the risk analysis of this current etoll was not properly done. For example, everybody would have known that if you have got etolls that target people of Gauteng in roads that carries everybody, how are you going to track everybody? So this method, this model is not performing, is not going to perform, has never performed financially. And it is better to let it rest in peace, rest forever, and explore the options that are there. I can assure you, we've taken the risks to the public purse into account, and we are sure that we are not placing a risk or burden on the public purse. We are not even burdening the taxpayer, but we are looking at better options.
You're still not addressing the question of the driving school operators. The driving school operators are saying people are unable to renew their licenses because they've got pending tickets at this particular point, which they can't pay. Because of the ARTO Act now in place, they are unable to renew those licenses.
Well, let me say to the viewers that on Tuesday, we are meeting with the driving school operators. They have been marching, and again, very interestingly, only here in our province, we understand we are the economic hub of the country, and we are an easy target for people seeking to ensure their voices ahead. We're meeting with them on Tuesday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and we are going to hear them. I wouldn't want to be prejudicial to the discussions we're going to have with them. I wouldn't want to preempt that, but I can assure you, with time permitting, and I'm not issuing an invitation, I'm saying to you, if you would want to hear the outcomes, you can invite them. I can be there with them. We can talk to the viewers, all of us, and say, what exactly are their issues? What is our take as a province on those issues, so that the viewers can understand what exactly is going on? One issue that we don't agree with them, and we'll raise it with them, is that COVID-19 has imposed what the President of our Republic, Cyril Ramaphosa, calls the new normal. Businesses have to adapt the entire globe because of COVID-19, and that relates to the issue of the online booking system. So we will engage with them to hear what is their take on the risk of death for themselves, for members of the public, for our staff, if we have got overcrowded spaces, uncontrolled movement into our DLTCs. So all these issues we're going to bring to the table on Tuesday, 2 o'clock. And I'm saying to you, if you have an interest in the matter, we will be glad. I'll invite them. We can come to the studio.
So can we set that date to
start that negotiation?
Can we set that date tonight, that on Tuesday next week during this time we'll have you and the driving school association to come and talk to us on this matter?
Yeah, and if I don't know if you're inviting me, but if
I'm inviting you right now. I'm definitely inviting you right now.
Yes, it's confirmed so that the public and the people can know what exactly is going on here. But I would like to meet them first. Invitation coming from you, Not me inviting myself. It's accepted, and I'll be here.
I've invited you. There you are. Well, there. We'll speak to the MEC again next week, Tuesday. MEC, appreciate your time. Let's leave it there for tonight. Public Transport and Road Infrastructure MEC in Gauteng, Jacob Mamabolo.